It's Tuesday, September 12. In the headlines, more JUTC buses coming soon. In business news, Jamaica Boilers registers increase in profit. Regionally, Chinese medical team arrives in Barbados. Internationally, Morocco death toll approaches 2,900 as search continues. And in sports, a cricket West Indies women's selection panel announced a 15-member squad. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport Daryl Vaz on Monday took a tour of the Halfway Tree Transport Centre to observe the daily operations. 315 buses, including the 50 newly arrived units, have been deployed from the Jamaica Urban Transit Company's Portmore, Spanish Town and Rockfort depot to ease the delays in commute.
We have an availability of 253 buses. And what is very impressive to me is the fact that at 7:30, at this moment at 7:30, you have no waiting in the area for persons who are seeking buses. That would show me that the people are being moved in a timely manner based on the availability of buses. So the fact is that this is what speaks to what the situation is.
He had said there will be 120 buses coming from Portmore, including 20 of the new units, 99 from Spanish Town and 96 from Rockfort in East Kingston. While on Monday's tour, he noted that buses were parked waiting on passengers, adding that 6 more buses are to be added to the system soon.
We have 6 more buses arriving in November, 14 more in January, and then, as I said before, I'm hoping that within this month I can make an announcement by our next month in relation to additional buses. Getting additional buses.
Mr. Vaz, along with Minister of Education and Youth Favour Williams, Managing Director of the JUTC Paul Abrams, Chairman of the Transport Authority Owen Ellington, and Managing Director of the Transport Authority Ralston Smith, were at the facility on Monday to observe back-to-school operations. Officials of the JUTC gave students and other persons Smarter Card vouchers at the event. Jamaica has seen a 32% increase in visitors in the first half of the year. Director of Tourism Donovan White says the island welcomed 2.77 million visitors between January and August, with tourism earnings reaching $2.9 billion for the 8-month period. The arrival figure represents a 32% increase compared to the same period last year, when the island welcomed 2.09 million visitors, and is just 5.5% shy of the record 2.93 million in arrivals for January to August 2019. Overall, 3.88 million visitors are expected for 2023, comprising 2.74 million stopover arrivals and 1.13 million cruise ship passengers, with estimated earnings of $4.2 billion. Mr. White credited the surge in tourist arrivals and increased foreign exchange earnings to the efforts of Jamaica's tourism stakeholders. He was addressing the opening of the 2023 Jamaica Product Exchange Trade Show at the Montego Bay Convention Center in Rose Hall on September 11. JPEX is the premier trade event of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, slated for September 11 to September 13. The Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ is reminding business persons that their third quarter estimated corporate income tax and self-employed statutory payments are due on Friday, September 15, 2023. These include estimated corporate income tax, self-employed statutory payments, stamp duty, trade license, withholding tax. Additionally, employers' monthly statutory payroll deductions, SO1, for the month of August are due on September 14. Business persons are reminded of the host of payment options at their fingertips, which include via the TAJ Direct Funds Transfer process for business-related tax payments. This is in addition to customers being able to make payments via the tax authority's website, www.jamaicatax.gov.jm. For further information, persons may contact the Tax Administration's Customer Care Center at 888-TAX-HELP. That's 888-829-4357, toll-free, or visit their website at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm. Read it before you eat it. That's the latest campaign being spearheaded by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is on a mission to reduce, if not eliminate, the scourge of non-communicable diseases, NCDs, which is not only leading cause of death in Jamaica, but globally. Consumers should take a strident approach to what they eat or drink. This means read it before you eat it. Let's take a look at the highlights from the launch of the ministry's newest campaign.
Welcome to this, our Nutrition Facts Panel Media Campaign launch. Today is a special day in public health, and we're pleased that you've taken the time to be with us as we fight the good fight to decrease the NCD illness and death rate here in Jamaica.
Improved nutrition can mitigate the prevalence of NCDs and other health risk factors among Jamaicans. Through the launch of this campaign, we are urging young and old alike to adopt better lifestyle practices such as reading a food label before consuming the contents.
Most of the foods that we consume tend to be pre-packaged and ultra-processed. This leaves us with little to no control over the ingredients. Therefore, the institution of a nutrition facts panel on all pre-packaged foods gives us the ability to make more informed and healthier decisions when we make food purchases.
Dr. the Honorable Christopher Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, thank you for your
The global food system and trade system and development system oftentimes do not sufficiently consider human capital development. This is a very important effort and I commend it, but we have to also keep the struggle for front and package labeling. And the reality is that industry is skeptical because they need to look at the cost of the labeling, but they totally ignore the cost of the illness and the hospitalization and the downtime.
Time now for the business report with Danita Rodney.
Jamaica Boilers Group registered a 16% increase in profits in its first quarter, which ended in July, despite a marginal drop in profit from local operations. Reports say the company's Jamaica operations brought in over $1 billion Jamaican dollars, which was $130 million less than last year. The decline was due to increased pressure from high levels of imports, which affected baby chick sales to small farmers. Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Monday, September 11, the US dollar sold for an average of $155.21. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $114.59. The pound sterling traded for $193.41, and the euro sold for $169.16. In JSE trading, the JSE index declined by over 2,517 points. The junior market index declined by over 16 points. The combined market index declined by over 2,501 points, and the All Jamaican Composite Index advanced by over 672 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 103 stocks, of which 32 advanced, 52 declined, and 19 traded firm. Stocks advanced for Berger Paints Jamaica Limited, Blue Power Group Limited, and Caribbean Cream Limited. Stocks declined for Access Financial Services Limited, Barita Investments Limited, and Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited. Trading firm were 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Verbal Preference, and AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. The overall volume leaders were Kingston Wharves Limited with over 3 million units, Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited, and JMMB Group Limited 7.35% cumulative redeemable preference share with over 1 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, 0 securities traded. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Government of Barbados Bond Series B was the volume leader with 20,000 shares. They were followed by First Caribbean International Bank, which traded over 2,000 shares. In regional business, President Dr. Ifan Ali announced that Guyana's real gross domestic product, which essentially reflects the state of the economy, grew by about 59.5% in the first half of this year. Though much of that expansion has been linked to the nascent oil and gas sector, many other sectors have seen sizable expansions too.
We are not a country pursuing a future of oil and gas. We are a country pursuing a balanced, holistic, diversified portfolio that will see sustainability and resilience of our economy, our country, and our people. And as a result of this wide approach, this holistic approach, in the first half of 2023, real GDP grew by an estimated 59.5%.
In international business, Wall Street closed sharply higher as Tesla surged on optimism around artificial intelligence, and investors awaited inflation data due later this week.
The Dow rose 0.25%, the S&P 500 gained nearly 0.7%, and the Nasdaq jumped more than 1%. Shares of Tesla rallied 10% after Morgan Stanley upgraded the electric car maker to overweight from equal weight, saying its Dojo supercomputer, which trains AI systems, could boost the company's market value by nearly $600 billion. Other megacaps also rose, with Amazon climbing 3.5% and Microsoft adding more than 1%. And Meta Platforms jumped more than 3% after a report on Sunday said the social media platform was working on a new, more powerful AI system. Investors now turn their attention to the Consumer Price Index data for August, due on Wednesday. Kevin Mon, Chief Investment Officer at Henyon & Walsh Asset Management, believes the report will show inflation ticking higher due to rising oil prices, and that may force the Federal Reserve to raise rates at least once more.
My concern is that if they continue to raise interest rates, that's only going to increase the cost of debt servicing to U.S. consumers and the federal government. U.S. consumers who have now put over $1 trillion worth on their credit cards. U.S. consumers who are facing credit card interest rates over 24%. the highest on record, and the same U.S. consumers who have now seen their personal savings dwindle to near zero. If 70% of our economic growth comes from consumer spending, and the consumer has to shift from spending to servicing their outstanding debt, which may only go up even higher if the Fed continues to raise interest rates, well, then I fear we're going to be heading into a recession.
In other company news, Walt Disney added about 1%, and Charter Communications rose roughly 3% after they reached a deal for Disney's programming, including ESPN, to return to the Spectrum cable service just hours ahead of the start of NFL Monday Night Football. Shares of Qualcomm added nearly 4% after the chipmaker signed a new deal to supply 5G chips to Apple until at least 2026. And Hostess brands surged 19% after jelly giant J.M. Smucker said it would buy the Twinkies maker in a $5.6 billion deal.
In market data for oil prices rose about 1%, boosted by a tighter supply outlook, while investors awaited macroeconomic data that could indicate whether interest rates would rise further in the United States and Europe. Brent crude rose 67 cents to $91.31 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude firmed by 76 cents to $88.05. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, the delivery of a wide range of health-related services in Barbados has received a major boost with the arrival of a medical team from China. Speaking to the press alongside the Chinese ambassador, Minister of State in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Sonia Brown, welcomed the medical team, noting they will be making their presence felt in several areas.
It marks the dedication of China in terms of providing medical care and medical training and teaching to the island, signified by the crossing of two administrations over time. We welcome them today, as the ambassador was alluding to. They cover many areas, including neonatology, neonatal surgery, anesthesiology, even acupuncture, which was a big hit a few years ago, I believe, with the Barbadian doctors. That was put into the QEH, and it was very helpful, and we are interested in training in that area. Apart from that, we're doing anesthesiology, vascular surgery, ultrasound, nuclear medicine.
The first one was here in Barbados in December 2022. Since then, 5 medical teams has been working in QEH with the colleagues, Barbadian colleagues, and provided medical service to Barbadians all these past 6 years. And the 6th team consists of 8 doctors covering the experts in pediatrics, nuclear medicine, acupuncture, and this authority and others.
In Grenada, the U.S. Navy ship USNS Burlington will be in Grenada from September 12 to September 24. During the ship's visit, their medical teams will be working alongside Grenadian medical personnel to provide care in community clinics.
Frances Herrera, Grenada's principal officer at the U.S. Embassy, speaks on the purpose of the visit, noting that it also ties in with preparedness for and response to a disaster.
Of Continuing Promise 2023 mission, it's to partner with our host nation personally in community clinics to provide direct patient care. They're going to conduct side-by-side engagements. Host nation medical facilities conduct women's peace and security roundtables and gender-based violence workshops, and conduct veterinarian engagements. They'll participate in community reconstruction projects and conduct the subject matter expert exchanges and humanitarian assistance and disaster relief exercises.
Dr. Taisha Donald, medical director at the General Hospital, said the collaboration between both countries is for the greater good of the health sector. Nurses included in the mission will provide temporary relief given the current shortage of nurses in the system. Dr. Donald notes that health takes up the broader spectrum of the mission. However, it has a multi-sectoral approach that also encompasses agriculture, education, disaster management, and veterinary services, among other areas.
We know we do have a shortage of nurses, and we will have nurses coming as part of the team, and they will be partnering with our nurses in the intensive care unit and emergency room. And I know even though it's a short time, it would still make quite an impact because it would help buffer our nursing situation, and also it would be a time for exchange, a time when both the team and our team can exchange, share notes, share experiences, and learn from each other.
The visit will also include training and subject matter expert exchanges on various medical and humanitarian assistance / disaster relief topics and seminars on women, peace and security.
Apart from the nurses, we'll be doing a bit of community as well. So we have a health fair carded for the 22nd of September, Friday the 22nd, and that will be at Progress Park, and I think that would be the largest event of the mission. Community health team will be partnering with the U.S. Navy team in blood pressure screening, glaucoma screening, even eye screening as well. And at that health fair, we are also hoping to have little small groups of CPR training.
In Guyana, the government is in the process of re-evaluating the revenue projected for this year, and based on the numbers, there will be a further adjustment to the daily minimum wage and the income tax threshold. The announcement was made by President Dr. Ifran Ali.
On the economy, I am currently re-evaluating our revenues, projected revenues, the economy, based on its strength, to analyze whether and when, not whether and when, because we have the capacity, and further adjustment in the daily minimum wage. So this is something that I am presently reviewing with an aim at a further adjustment in the daily minimum wage. Also reviewing the absorptive capacity at further advancing liquidity in your pocket, if I may put it that way, by an adjustment in the tax threshold. This is another issue that I would say is on the front burner of consideration.
In international news, the number of people killed in an earthquake in Morocco on Friday has risen to nearly 2,900. Many survivors have spent another night in tents after their homes were destroyed, and rescue teams continue to search for those who could be trapped on the rubble. More from Al Jazeera.
Well, look, Tom, we're 20 kilometers away from the epicenter. That's just behind those steep mountains behind me. Now, you said in your intro that some villages were accessed, but many villages have not received any aid. And we've seen helicopters, Chinook helicopters and other helicopters going back and forth above these mountains to try to survey the situation. This is very much an unfolding crisis for the Moroccan authorities that need all the help that they can get. The Qataris actually were able to go in some of these areas and try to access and save some lives. In the village of Tafagag, 160 villagers were found dead, flattened by the earthquake. And just earlier this morning in Marrakesh and here, there was another tremor 10 kilometers below ground, and people rushed outside of their homes. this is very much a situation where people are fearful and anxious about what will happen next. And that's why people have set up tents away from the steep hills. This is for them a safe place to stay, at least for now. Tom?
Nick, you described this as an unfolding crisis, getting aid into the worst affected areas. I mean, it must be hugely frustrating for many of the people there. Where is that frustration directed at this point in time?
Well, look, here in this area, I mean, a lot of people are relying on each other to make things happen. Let me just show you around in this area where people have set up tents, and there right now children are working to set up tents, not aid agencies, not government officials, but families gathered together, survivors helping each other. In Marrakesh, I sensed that there was greater frustration towards the authorities there. Outside the Medina, we saw so many families huddled around, waiting for the authorities to help them. Now, there's a makeshift camp over there in Marrakesh. Here, very little aid. We've seen mostly the Moroccan services operating their search and rescue mission, like you see right above us. A helicopter, again, flying back and forth, a Chinook flying back. They're trying to get to access those remote areas. This is still what is happening here in this specific place.
In sports, the Cricket West Indies women's selection panel has announced the 15-member squad for the tour to Australia in October. The 6-match series comprises 3 T20 internationals and 3 one-day internationals. Following the West Indies women's clean sweep against Ireland women in the CG United ODI series and the T20 International series in St. Lucia earlier in the summer, the panel has named an unchanged squad for the Australia tour under the leadership of Hayley Matthews. The tour will be the first for the new head coach, who arrived in the West Indies at the end of August. The squad includes 3 Jamaicans, former captain Stephanie Taylor, Chanel Henry and Rashada Williams. That's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.